Rosie's Grill, a small diner in Millbrook, Georgia. 9:35 p.m. Hey, black girl! I said no onions! The woman in the fur coat threw the plate. Eggs splattered across Tamara Henderson's waitress apron. I'm so sorry, ma'am. I'll fix it right. You people can't even take a simple order. What, they don't teach reading in the ghetto? Her husband smirked. Gold cufflinks, Rolex. Honey, what do you expect? Look at her. Tamara lowered her eyes. I apologize. Your new order will be free. Damn right. The woman threw a crumpled dollar on the floor. More than a black waitress deserves. They left, laughing. Tamara picked up the dollar. 10-hour shift, $23 total. Rain pounded outside. She stepped out. An old white man stood barefoot in the storm, torn jacket, eyes lost, shivering. Tamara had one $20 bill left, everything she had. She gave it to him. 4 hours later, a helicopter landed on her street. The old man's hand trembled as he took the money. Miss, this is too much. You need it more than me. Tamara pulled off her jacket, her only jacket, and draped it over his shoulders. Stay dry. Find somewhere warm. But I'll be fine. She wasn't fine. She had $3 in coins left. Bus fare was $3.50. Tamara pulled out her phone. Cracked screen. Dialed 911. There's an elderly man on Cedar Street. Confused. Possibly Alzheimer's. He needs help. Your name, ma'am? Tamara hesitated. Just send someone. Please. She stayed until she saw police lights flashing 2 blocks away. Then she slipped into the shadows. No name, no reward, no recognition. Just a 26-year-old black waitress walking 3 miles home in a thunderstorm. Rain soaked through her uniform within minutes. Her sneakers squelched against the pavement. Water dripped from her braids. Each step felt heavier than the last. Tamara passed closed shops, locked doors, warm lights behind windows where families sat together, dry and safe, and no one stopped to offer her a ride. No one even looked. 45 minutes later, she reached Maple Ridge, the subsidized housing complex on the east side of town. Cracked sidewalks, flickering streetlights, the smell of mildew in the hallways. Home. On her door, a yellow notice, bold red letters. Eviction warning, $400 past due. 3 days to pay or vacate. Tamara stared at the paper. Her hands shook. Not from cold, but from exhaustion, from hopelessness. She unlocked the door. Inside, a studio apartment the size of a parking space. Mattress on the floor, hot plate on the counter, a refrigerator containing ketchup packets, half a loaf of stale bread, and hope. On the wall, 3 photographs. Her mother, Angela, smiling, alive, gone 5 years now. Her nursing school textbooks. Dusty, abandoned dreams. Her brother Terrell's graduation photo. Full scholarship to Georgia State. Her sacrifice. Her pride. Tamara sat on the mattress. Wet clothes. Empty stomach. $3 in her pocket. She looked at her mother's photograph. Mama, did I do right? No answer. Just rain against the window. She didn't regret giving away that $20. She never would. But God, she was tired. Meanwhile, 40 miles north. The Whitmore estate blazed with lights. Chaos filled the marble foyer. Security teams, police scanners, servants rushing in every direction. Garrett Whitmore stood in the center of it all. 35 years old, CEO of Whitmore Industries, 3-piece suit. But his hair was wild. His eyes were red. How long has he been missing? 6 hours, sir. The head of security checked his tablet. Mr. Whitmore Sr. wandered away from his nurse around 3 p.m. We've been searching ever since. 6 hours? My grandfather has Alzheimer's. He could be dead in a ditch somewhere. Garrett. A cold voice cut through the room. Victoria Whitmore descended the grand staircase. 42 years old, designer dress, perfect posture. Jonathan Whitmore's daughter, Garrett's older sister. "Panicking won't help," she said. "Father has done this before. He'll turn up." "He's never been gone this long, Victoria. Perhaps it's time we discussed full-time care facilities. He's not a problem to be filed away. He's our father." Victoria's eyes narrowed. "He's a liability. His condition is deteriorating. These episodes will only get worse." Before Garrett could respond, his phone rang. "Mr. Whitmore, Millbrook Police Department. We found your grandfather." Garrett's knees nearly buckled. "Is he okay? Where?" "A young woman called it in. Found him wandering on Cedar Street. He's confused but unharmed. He's wearing a jacket that isn't his. Tag says, Rosie's Grill." "The woman who found him, what's her name?" "She didn't leave one, sir. Just made sure we got to him, then disappeared." Garrett hung up. His mind raced. Someone found his grandfather, gave him her jacket, called for help, then vanished without asking for anything. In a world where everyone wanted something from the Whitmore family, this stranger wanted nothing. "I need to find her," Garrett said. Victoria rolled her eyes. "For what? Send her a gift card?" "She saved his life, Victoria. She made a phone call. Don't be dramatic." But Garrett was already moving. "Get the helicopter ready. Pull camera footage from Millbrook. Every street corner, every traffic light. I want to know who she is." Victoria watched him go, her expression unreadable. Then she pulled out her own phone. "It's me," she said quietly. "We may have a problem." 1:35 a.m. Tamara was half asleep when the noise started. A deep mechanical thunder, growing louder, closer. Then, blinding light through her window. She stumbled to the glass. Her jaw dropped. A helicopter was descending onto Maple Ridge Street. Searchlights carved through the rain. Wind from the rotors scattered trash and shook the old oak trees. Neighbors poured out of their apartments, some in bathrobes, some clutching children. "What the hell? Is it the police? Are we being raided?" Black SUVs appeared seconds later, 3 of them. They stopped in formation like a presidential motorcade. Tamara's heart pounded. What's happening? A knock at her door. No, not a knock. A pounding. She opened it to find Mrs. Patterson, her 70-year-old landlord, white-faced and trembling. "Tamara, there are men in suits asking for you. What did you do?" I don't know, Miss Henderson." A man appeared behind Mrs. Patterson. Tall, sharp jawline, expensive suit, but his tie was loose, his hair disheveled. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. Behind him, 2 security guards the size of refrigerators. "Are you Tamara Henderson?" Tamara's throat tightened. "Yes. Who's asking?" "My name is Garrett Whitmore. You saved my grandfather's life tonight." The name meant nothing to her. "The old man in the rain? Is he okay?" Garrett stared at her. Of all the questions she could have asked, "Who are you? What do you want? Is there a reward?" she asked about the old man. "He's safe. Because of you." "Thank God." Tamara exhaled. He seemed so scared, so lost. "Miss Henderson, do you know who my grandfather is? Should I?" Garrett glanced at Mrs. Patterson, who was clutching the doorframe like it might save her from fainting. "Jonathan Whitmore," Mrs. Patterson whispered, "founder of Whitmore Industries, tech billionaire, one of the richest men in America." Tamara blinked, then blinked again. That old man? The one with no shoes?" "That old man," Garrett said quietly, "built a company worth $47 billion. He has early-stage Alzheimer's. He wandered away from his nurse and somehow ended up 40 miles from home." He paused. 17 people walked past him in the rain before you stopped. We checked the cameras. 17. Tamara's legs felt weak. I didn't know who he was. He looked like someone's grandfather. That's exactly why I'm here. Garrett's voice softened. You gave him your jacket, your money. Then you walked 3 miles home in a storm rather than wait for thanks. Why? Tamara looked at her mother's photograph on the wall. Because my mama taught me that when you see someone hurting, you help. You don't ask questions. You don't wait for rewards. You just help. Silence. Garrett Whitmore, CEO of a billion-dollar empire, stood in a cramped studio apartment surrounded by water-stained walls and second-hand furniture. And for the first time in years, he felt something he couldn't buy. Respect. My grandfather wants to meet you, he said. To thank you personally. Will you come? Tamara looked at the eviction notice on her door, at her wet uniform still dripping on the floor, at the $3 sitting on her nightstand. I didn't do it for thanks, Mr. Whitmore. I know. That's why you deserve it. From the hallway, Rosa appeared. Tamara's co-worker from the diner, 50 years old, Latina, fierce and loyal. She'd seen the helicopter and ran 6 blocks in her pajamas. Tamara, are you okay? Oh my God! She saw the SUVs, the security, the helicopter still idling in the street. What is happening? Tamara turned to her friend. Rosa, I think my life just got very complicated. 15 minutes later, Tamara sat in a helicopter for the first time in her life. Below her, Millbrook shrank to a grid of lights. She could see Rosie's grill, her apartment complex, the bus stop where she'd waited 1,000 times. Her whole world reduced to a thumbnail. Garrett sat across from her, silent, respectful. I've never been in a helicopter, Tamara said. Neither had my grandfather, not until he was 60. Garrett looked out the window. He grew up poor, you know, dirt poor, built everything from nothing. He always said the people who have the least often give the most. Tamara said nothing, but she thought of her mother, of the $20, of the old man's trembling hands. 4 hours ago, she was a broke black waitress being screamed at for onions. Now she was flying through the night toward a world she'd never imagined. Strange how life works. The Whitmore estate looked like something from a movie. Iron gates, cobblestone driveway, a mansion that could swallow Tamara's entire apartment building. Servants lined the entrance, security everywhere, crystal chandeliers visible through towering windows. Tamara stepped out of the helicopter still wearing her diner uniform, the nicest thing she owned. A butler approached. Miss Henderson, welcome. May I take your... He looked at her outfit, paused, adjusted. May I offer you a robe while we have your clothes dried? I'm fine, thank you. She wasn't fine. She was terrified. But she'd learned long ago that showing fear invited cruelty. Garrett led her through a foyer larger than her church, past oil paintings and marble sculptures, past rooms filled with furniture that probably cost more than she'd earn in 10 lifetimes. Then they reached the living room, and there he was. Jonathan Whitmore III sat in a leather armchair, wrapped in a cashmere blanket. A private nurse stood nearby. He looked frail, vulnerable, nothing like a billionaire. But when he saw Tamara, his eyes lit up. There she is. He struggled to stand. The angel from the rain. Tamara rushed forward. Please, sir, don't get up. Nonsense. Jonathan grabbed her hands. His grip was weak but warm. Let me look at you. Let me see the face of the only honest person I've met in 30 years. Tamara's eyes stung. I'm no angel, Mr. Whitmore. I just did what anyone would do. No. Jonathan's voice cracked. You did what no one does. 17 people walked past me. I counted. 17 people saw an old man lost in the rain and kept walking. But you stopped. You looked at me. Do you know how long it's been since someone looked at me, really looked, without seeing dollar signs? A tear rolled down his weathered cheek. You remind me of my grandmother, Tamara whispered. She had Alzheimer's, too. Before she passed, she used to wander, get lost. I learned to look for people like her, people who need help but can't ask for it. Jonathan squeezed her hands tighter. Then you understand. You understand. From the doorway, Victoria Whitmore watched, arms crossed, face cold. Father, you need rest. Miss Henderson, we appreciate your help. The family will send appropriate compensation. Victoria! Jonathan's voice turned sharp. This woman saved my life. She will stay as long as she wishes, and you will treat her with respect. Victoria's jaw tightened. Of course, Father. She turned and left. Her heels clicked against the marble like gunshots. Garrett caught Tamara's eye. A silent apology. Later, after Jonathan fell asleep in his chair, Garrett walked Tamara through the garden. Dawn painted the sky pink and gold. I'm sorry about my sister, Garrett said. She's complicated. She doesn't want me here. No, she doesn't. He paused. Victoria manages my grandfather's assets. She's been pushing for years to have him declared incompetent, to take full control. Tamara stopped walking. Why are you telling me this? Because you deserve to know what you've walked into. My family is broken, has been for years. Money does that sometimes. It rots things from the inside. And your grandfather? Garrett looked toward the mansion. He's the only good thing left, and he's fading. But tonight, when he saw you, I saw a light in his eyes I haven't seen in months. He turned to her. You gave him something money can't buy. What's that? Hope. 3 days later, Tamara sat in Jonathan Whitmore's private study. Leather-bound books lined the walls. A fireplace crackled. 3 lawyers in $1,000 suits sat across from her, documents spread on a mahogany table. Tamara wore her cleanest clothes, a thrift store blouse and slacks Rosa had helped her iron that morning. Jonathan sat beside her, alert today, lucid. Miss Henderson, the lead attorney began, Mr. Whitmore has instructed us to prepare a gratitude package, $100,000 in cash, plus a full scholarship to any nursing program in the country. Tamara's breath caught. $100,000. She could pay her rent, buy food, finish her degree, help Terrell, start over. I can't accept this. Jonathan turned to her. Why not? Because I didn't help you for money. I helped you because it was right. If I take this, it changes what I did. It makes it transactional. The lawyers exchanged confused glances. They'd never seen anyone refuse Whitmore money. Jonathan smiled. Garrett, do you see? Do you see why I like her? From the corner, Garrett nodded. I see, grandfather. Miss Henderson. Jonathan took her hand. I've spent 50 years surrounded by people who want my money. Every smile hides a motive. Every kindness comes with strings. But you gave me your last $20 when you thought I was nobody. When you had nothing. His voice trembled. Let me do something for you. Not as payment, as gratitude. There's a difference. Tamara stared at the documents. Everything she'd dreamed of, everything she'd sacrificed, sitting right there. But something felt wrong. I'll accept the scholarship, she said finally. Education is opportunity. My mother would have wanted that. She pushed the cash document aside. But I can't take $100,000. It's too much. I haven't earned it. Miss Henderson, $10,000. Tamara's voice was firm. Enough to pay my back rent and get stable. That's all. The rest goes to people who need it more than me. Silence. Jonathan Whitmore laughed, a genuine, joyful sound that surprised everyone in the room. You have more integrity than my entire board of directors. He looked at his lawyers. Draw up the scholarship, 10,000 in assistance, and establish a foundation in her mother's name, the Angela Henderson Memorial Fund, to help families who can't afford medical care. Tamara's composure finally broke. Tears streamed down her face. Mr. Whitmore, you don't have to. I want to. That's the difference, remember? 1 week later, the story leaked. Waitress saves billionaire with her last $20. The headline exploded across local news, then national, then international. Reporters swarmed Rosie's grill, cameras everywhere, customers lined up just to meet her. Hashtag the $20 hero trended on Twitter. Tamara tried to keep working, keep her head down, but everything had changed. Tamara, Rosa grabbed her arm between orders. Girl, you're famous. I'm a waitress, Rosa, same as yesterday. Yesterday you weren't on CNN. Earl, the 60-year-old owner of Rosie's Grill, watched from behind the counter. Gruff, skeptical, but even he couldn't hide his pride. Henderson, stop flapping your gums and serve table 6. Yes, Earl. Some things never changed. That Sunday, Pastor Willis visited the diner. 65 years old, silver-haired, the moral backbone of Millbrook's black community. Tamara Henderson. He took both her hands. You have made this town proud. You've shown the world that kindness still exists. Pastor, I just did what Mama taught me. And your Mama is smiling in heaven right now. He squeezed her hands. But I need to warn you. Fame attracts attention. Some good, some bad. Stay humble. Stay careful. What do you mean? Pastor Willis glanced toward the window. A black sedan sat across the street, watching. Some people see a hero and want to help her. Others see an opportunity to exploit. City Hall. The next day. Dale Prescott adjusted his tie and smiled at the camera. 55 years old, city councilman, perfect hair, perfect teeth, perfectly corrupt. Citizens of Millbrook, today we honor one of our own, Tamara Henderson, with the key to the city. Applause filled the council chamber. Tamara stood on stage, uncomfortable in a borrowed dress. Prescott handed her a golden key. Photo ops, handshakes, the whole performance. Miss Henderson represents the best of Millbrook, Prescott announced. Humble, hardworking, a true American success story. Tamara shook his hand. Something felt wrong. His smile didn't reach his eyes. His grip was too tight, too possessive. After the ceremony, Prescott cornered Garrett Whitmore in the hallway. Mr. Whitmore, a pleasure. I understand Whitmore Industries is looking to expand in Georgia? Garrett kept his expression neutral. We're exploring options. I could help zoning, help, permits, tax incentives. I have connections. I'm sure you do. Perhaps we could meet? Discuss mutual opportunities? Garrett studied the councilman, the expensive watch that didn't match a public servant's salary, the hungry gleam in his eyes. I'll have my people contact yours. He walked away, but he didn't forget. That night, Prescott's office. Victoria Whitmore sat across from Dale Prescott. Two predators recognizing each other. The waitress is becoming a problem, Victoria said. My father talks about her constantly. He's mentioned changing his will. Prescott leaned forward. Changing it how? Leaving her a portion of the estate, her, a black waitress, while I, his own daughter, have to fight for every cent. That does seem unfair. I need her discredited, removed from his life. Prescott smiled. I may have some information that could help. Her background isn't as clean as everyone thinks. Victoria's eyes narrowed. What kind of information? 5 years ago. A theft conviction. She's a thief? She stole medication from a pharmacy for her dying mother, allegedly. Charges were reduced, but the record exists. Victoria smiled for the first time. Perfect. A thief who became a hero, and now wants to become an heiress. She stood. Destroy her, Dale. Make sure my father never sees her again. And in return, Whitmore Industries will invest very generously in Millbrook's development projects. They shook hands. Two vipers making a deal. Neither noticed the cleaning lady in the hallway. Listening. 1 month later. For the first time in years, Tamara Henderson felt something dangerous. Hope. Mornings, classes at Millbrook Community College. Introduction to Nursing. Anatomy 101. Her brain hurt. Her heart soared. Afternoons, shifts at Rosie's Grill, same customers, same orders. But different tips now. People left 20s with notes. You inspire me. Keep going. The world needs more people like you. Evenings, studying on her mattress, flashcards, textbooks, dreams of a white coat and a stethoscope. Her eviction notice was gone. Rent paid. Utilities current. Refrigerator actually contained food. Terrell called every Sunday. Sis, you're all over the internet. My professors are asking about you. Don't let it distract you. Focus on your studies. I'm so proud of you, Tamara. I'm proud of you. Now get back to work. She visited Mrs. Patterson for tea every Thursday. You've changed this building, the old woman said. People smile more. They hold doors. They check on each other. I haven't done anything, Mrs. Patterson. You've reminded them that kindness matters. That's everything. Garrett visited occasionally. Brief, respectful, professional. They'd talk about Jonathan, good days and bad days, about the foundation being established, about nothing and everything. One evening, walking through the community garden, Garrett asked, Do you ever regret it? Giving away that $20? Tamara watched the sunset paint the sky orange. Never. Not for 1 second. Even though you walked 3 miles in the rain? Even then. She turned to him. Mr. Whitmore, Garrett, I've been poor my whole life. I know what it's like to be invisible, to have people look through you like you don't exist. That old man in the rain, for that moment he was just as invisible as me, and I couldn't walk past someone who felt what I feel every day. Garrett was quiet for a long time. You're remarkable. You know that? I'm ordinary. I just try to do right. But ordinary people don't change billionaires' lives, and ordinary lives don't attract enemies. At Rosie's Grill, Earl pulled Tamara aside. That councilman, Prescott, he's been sniffing around, asking questions about you, about your past. Tamara's stomach tightened. What kind of questions? The digging kind. Earl's face was grim. Watch your back, kid. Something's coming. 2 months after the rescue. The knock came at 6 a.m. Tamara opened her door to find 2 police officers and a detective in a cheap suit. Tamara Henderson? Yes? I'm Detective Morrison. We need to ask you some questions about your relationship with Jonathan Whitmore. Her blood ran cold. Is he okay? Did something happen? Mr. Whitmore is fine. This is about you. The detective held up a document. You've been accused of elder financial exploitation, specifically manipulating a mentally incapacitated individual for personal gain. What? A complaint was filed by concerned citizens. They allege you knew Mr. Whitmore's identity before you rescued him, that the entire encounter was staged. Tamara's hands shook. That's insane. I'd never seen him before that night. We have witness statements suggesting otherwise. What witnesses? That's a lie. The detective pulled out another paper. His expression hardened. Miss Henderson, there's something else. Your criminal record. The world stopped. 5 years ago. Theft. You stole controlled substances from a pharmacy. Tamara's knees buckled. She grabbed the doorframe. That was different. My mother was dying. She had cancer. Stage 4. We couldn't afford pain medication. I was desperate. So you admit you're a thief. I was trying to save my mother. A thief who coincidentally saves a billionaire, who then receives scholarship money and public acclaim. The detective smiled coldly. Quite a pattern, Miss Henderson. Tamara couldn't breathe. They found out. They're using Mama against me. Am I under arrest? Not yet, but don't leave town. And Miss Henderson? He pocketed his notepad. The media loves a fallen hero. I'd prepare myself if I were you. The story broke that afternoon. $20. Hero a fraud? Waitress has criminal past. Questions surround billionaire rescue. The internet turned savage. I knew it was too good to be true. Once a thief, always a thief. She probably targeted that old man. Predator. Black people always looking for a handout. Tamara sat in her apartment, watching her life collapse in real time. Her phone rang. The college. Miss Henderson, your scholarship has been suspended pending investigation. We'll be in touch. Click. Her phone rang again. Earl. Tamara. I'm sorry. Customers are complaining, threatening boycotts. I can't. His voice cracked. I have to let you go. I'm so sorry. Click. Her phone rang again. A blocked number. She answered anyway. Miss Henderson? A woman's voice, smooth, triumphant. I hope you've learned your lesson. Stay away from my father. Stay away from my family. Or this is just the beginning. Victoria. I didn't do anything wrong. You're a convicted thief who targeted a vulnerable old man. That's the story now. That's the truth now. A cruel laugh. Go back to your ghetto, waitress. You don't belong in our world. Click. Tamara stared at her phone. Then she looked at her mother's photograph. And she broke. Mama. Tears streamed down her face. Sobs racked her body. Mama. I stole those pills so you wouldn't have to die screaming. And now they're using it to call me a criminal. They're using your pain to destroy me. She curled up on her mattress. The same mattress she'd slept on since she was 19. The same mattress where her mother took her last breath. I did everything right, Mama. I helped that man. I didn't ask for anything. I just wanted to do good. The apartment felt smaller, darker, the walls closing in. A knock at the door. Tamara didn't move. Another knock, softer. Tamara, it's Garrett. She wiped her face, opened the door. Garrett stood there, but his expression was different, guarded, distant. I heard about the investigation. And you believe it? Silence. Garrett, look at me. Do you believe I targeted your grandfather? He couldn't meet her eyes. I don't know what to believe, Tamara. There's evidence, witnesses, your record. My record? Her voice rose. I stole pain medication for my dying mother because we couldn't afford it. The judge dismissed the charges because I was a desperate daughter, not a criminal. I know, but the board is concerned. Victoria says, Victoria is lying. She's the one behind this. Can't you see? Garrett stepped back. I think we should keep our distance until this is resolved. Tamara stared at him, the man who'd flown a helicopter to her street, who'd called her remarkable, who'd promised his grandfather's gratitude. Now he stood in her doorway, unable to look at her. "Get out." "Tamara, get out!" He left. Tamara closed the door, slid down to the floor, wrapped her arms around her knees. Everyone was gone. Earl, the college, Garrett, her reputation, everything she'd built, everything she'd hoped for. Gone. She sat in darkness for hours, watching shadows move across the wall, wondering if she should just disappear, start over somewhere else, become nobody again. Then she saw her mother's photograph. Angela Henderson, smiling through pain, fighting until the end. "Baby girl," her mother's voice echoed in memory. "Don't you ever be ashamed of doing right, even when the whole world says you're wrong." Tamara wiped her tears, stood up, turned on the light. "No, I didn't come this far to quit. I didn't survive Mama's death and poverty and racism and exhaustion to let some rich woman and her pet politician destroy me. They want a fight? They'll get one." The next morning, Rosa showed up with groceries and fury. "Open the door, Tamara. I know you're in there." Tamara let her in. Rosa set down the bags and grabbed her hands. "I don't believe a single word of that garbage, not one word." "Rosa, your husband—" "My husband can sleep on the couch until he learns to recognize a good person. I've known you for 3 years. You're the most honest woman I've ever met." Tamara's eyes welled. "Thank you." "Don't thank me. Help me fight." Rosa pulled out her phone. "I've been digging. That concerned citizens group that filed the complaint doesn't exist. No address, no members, no history. It's a shell." "How do you know?" "Because my cousin works at City Hall. She pulled the paperwork. The organization was registered 2 weeks ago, right after Prescott met with some fancy blonde woman at his office." Tamara's heart pounded. Victoria. That's what I'm thinking. An hour later, Mrs. Patterson arrived with tea and documents. "I've been your landlord for 4 years, dear. I know your character. These accusations are nonsense." "Thank you, Mrs. Patterson. Also," she hesitated, "that Councilman Prescott. He's been pressuring me to sell this building, made threats about code violations, safety inspections. I think he wants to tear it down for some development project." Tamara connected the dots. "He's working with Victoria. They're both trying to get something. She wants me away from Jonathan. He wants business deals with Whitmore Industries." "Then we have the same enemy." Earl called that afternoon. "Tamara, I'm sorry I fired you. I was scared, but I was wrong." "It's okay, Earl. You have a business to protect." "To hell with the business. You need help, I'm here. What can I do?" "Find out if anyone has evidence about the night I found Mr. Whitmore. Camera footage, witnesses. Anything that proves I didn't know who he was." "I'll ask around. And Tamara?" "Yes?" "That Pastor Willis was in here yesterday. Says he saw you with the old man that night. Says he can testify you had no idea who he was." Tamara's heart leaped. "Pastor Willis?" "He was leaving the church around 10 p.m., saw everything." Finally, a witness. At the Whitmore estate, Garrett couldn't sleep. He replayed every conversation, every moment, the look in Tamara's eyes when she asked about his grandfather, the tears when she refused the money. That wasn't acting. That was real. He pulled up the security footage from the night of the rescue. Watched it again. 9:35 p.m., Cedar Street. Tamara approaches Jonathan. Her body language is concerned, not calculated. She kneels beside him, speaks gently, takes off her jacket without hesitation. Then she gives him money, her last money, and she walks away into the rain. No performance for cameras, no waiting for recognition. Just pure, simple kindness. I was wrong. He called his private investigator. "I need everything on Victoria's recent activities. Meetings, calls, financial transactions, everything. Sir, that's your sister? I know who she is. Do it. 3 days later, the investigator delivered a file. Garrett read it alone in his office. His hands trembled with rage. Victoria had been transferring funds from Jonathan's accounts for months. Small amounts, carefully hidden, but totaling over $2 million. She'd met with Prescott 6 times in the past month. Payments had flowed to shell companies connected to his development projects. And most damning of all, a recorded phone call. Destroy her, Dale. Make sure my father never sees her again. And in return, Whitmore Industries will invest very generously in Millbrook's development projects. Garrett closed the file. His own sister, his own blood, conspiring to frame an innocent woman, stealing from their dying father. He picked up his phone. Tamara? It's Garrett. Don't hang up. Please. Silence. I was wrong. I have proof. I know who's behind this, and I want to help you destroy them. More silence. Then, why should I trust you? Because my grandfather was right about you, and I was a coward not to see it sooner. I'm sorry, Tamara. I'm so sorry. A long pause. What kind of proof? Everything. Victoria, Prescott, the shell company, the money trail, all of it. Another pause. Meet me tomorrow. My apartment. And Garrett? Yes. Don't be late. Tamara's apartment had never held this many people. Rosa, Mrs. Patterson, Earl, Pastor Willis, Garrett. And in Garrett's hands, a USB drive containing Victoria Whitmore's destruction. Here's what we have, Garrett said. Body cam footage from the police that night. It clearly shows Tamara asking my grandfather basic questions. She had no idea who he was. We also have financial records proving Victoria has been embezzling from my grandfather's accounts. And, he held up his phone, a recording of Victoria and Prescott planning this entire frame-up. Pastor Willis shook his head. Lord have mercy. That woman plotted to destroy an innocent girl. What do we do with this? Rosa asked. Tamara stood. All eyes turned to her. We have 2 choices. Give everything to the police and let the system handle it. That's safe, but slow. Victoria has lawyers. Prescott has connections. They could bury this for months. And the other choice? Earl asked. We go public at the city council meeting tomorrow. Prescott is planning to use it as another grandstanding opportunity, talking about protecting the elderly from predators. He means me. Her jaw tightened. We turn his own stage against him. That's risky, Mrs. Patterson said. You could be sued for releasing private information. I've already lost everything. My job, my scholarship, my reputation, my mother's memory being used as a weapon. Tamara's voice hardened. I have nothing left to lose. Rosa grabbed her hand. You have us. Then let's end this. The next evening, Millbrook City Council chambers. Standing room only. Reporters, camera crews, citizens who wanted to witness the downfall of the $20 hero. At the front table, Dale Prescott, smoothing his tie, savoring his moment. In the VIP section, Victoria Whitmore, elegant in black, smiling like a cat with a mouse. In the back row, Tamara Henderson, wearing her mother's old church dress. Beside her, Rosa, Earl, Mrs. Patterson, Pastor Willis. And waiting outside, Garrett Whitmore. Ladies and gentlemen, Prescott began, tonight we discuss a critical issue facing our community. The exploitation of vulnerable elderly citizens by predatory individuals. Murmurs rippled through the crowd, eyes turned toward Tamara. We must be vigilant, Prescott continued. We must protect our seniors from those who would take advantage of their trust, their confusion, their wealth. Councilman Prescott, Garrett's voice cut through the chamber. He walked down the center aisle, calm, deliberate, carrying a laptop under his arm. Prescott's smile faltered. "Mr. Whitmore? What a pleasant surprise. Did you want to address the council?" "I did, if I may." Prescott's eyes darted to Victoria. She gave a tiny nod. "Let him talk. He's probably here to apologize for supporting the Waitress." "Of course, Mr. Whitmore. The floor is yours." Garrett set up the laptop, connected it to the chamber's projector screen. "Tonight," he said, "I want to show you what real predatory behavior looks like." The screen flickered to life. Body cam footage. Tamara kneeling beside Jonathan in the rain. "Sir, are you okay?" "I can't remember where I live. Do you know your name? Do you have family I can call?" Tamara's voice, gentle, concerned, clearly confused about who this old man was. The crowd murmured. This wasn't what they expected. "As you can see," Garrett said, "Miss Henderson had no idea who my grandfather was. She was simply helping a lost old man in a storm." Prescott laughed nervously. "One video doesn't prove—" "I'm not finished." The screen changed, an audio waveform. "Destroy her, Dale. Make sure my father never sees her again." Victoria's voice, unmistakable. "And in return?" Prescott's voice, equally clear. "Whitmore Industries will invest very generously in Millbrook's development projects." The chamber exploded. Victoria shot to her feet. "That's fake! That's been manipulated!" Prescott stumbled backward. I was misled." "There's more." Garrett's voice was ice. "Financial records showing Victoria Whitmore has embezzled over $2 million from my grandfather's accounts. Payments to shell companies connected to Councilman Prescott's development deals. A paper trail a mile long." He turned to face the crowd. "Kindness isn't charity. It's seeing someone when nobody else does." His voice rang through the silent chamber. "Tamara Henderson saw my grandfather. She gave him her last $20. She walked 3 miles home in a storm rather than wait for thanks. And for that act of pure kindness, these two," he pointed at Victoria and Prescott, "tried to destroy her." The chamber doors opened. Jonathan Whitmore entered in a wheelchair pushed by his nurse. Victoria's face went white. "Father, you shouldn't be here. Your condition—" "My condition," Jonathan said, his voice frail but clear, "is that I'm dying. And before I die, I want to see justice done." He wheeled himself to the front of the room, looked at Victoria. "Daughter, I gave you everything, every opportunity, every advantage, and you chose to steal from me, to frame an innocent woman, to betray your own blood." Victoria's composure cracked. "Father, I was protecting you. You were protecting your inheritance." Jonathan's eyes were wet. "I know I wasn't a perfect father. I worked too much, missed too many moments, but I never taught you this." He turned to Tamara. "Miss Henderson, will you come here?" Tamara walked forward on trembling legs. Jonathan took her hand. "This woman gave me her last $20 when she had nothing. She gave me her jacket in a storm. She asked for nothing in return." He looked at the crowd. "In all my years of building empires and accumulating wealth, I have never met anyone with such pure integrity." He squeezed her hand. "You saved me, Tamara, not just that night. You reminded me that goodness still exists, and I will spend whatever days I have left making sure the world knows who you really are." Tamara stepped to the microphone. The room fell silent. "I'm not going to lie to you. 5 years ago, I stole pain medication from a pharmacy. My mother was dying of cancer. She was in agony every single day. We had no insurance, no money, no options. So I stole pills, so my mama wouldn't have to die screaming." She paused. Let it sink in. "I was arrested. I confessed. The judge showed mercy because I was a desperate daughter, not a criminal. But the record exists. And these people— She looked at Victoria and Prescott. Used my love for my dying mother as a weapon against me. Her voice strengthened. I'm not perfect. I've made mistakes. But what I did that night, giving that man my last $20, that wasn't a mistake. That was everything my mother taught me. When you see someone hurting, you help. You don't ask questions. You don't wait for rewards. You just help. She turned to face Prescott directly. You thought I was small enough to crush. You were wrong. The chamber erupted in applause. Rosa sobbed. Earl wiped his eyes. Mrs. Patterson clutched her heart. Pastor Willis whispered, Amen. FBI agents entered through the side door. Victoria Whitmore? Dale Prescott? You're under arrest. Victoria screamed as they handcuffed her. Prescott tried to run but didn't make it 3 steps. Tamara watched them being led away. Then she felt a hand on her shoulder. Jonathan Whitmore, smiling through tears. Your mother would be proud, child. So very proud. 1 week later. Rosie's Grill. The bell above the door hadn't stopped ringing all night. Tamara worked the floor in her familiar apron, weaving between packed tables. The smell of coffee and bacon filled the air. Laughter echoed off the walls. Rosa hip-checked her at the counter. Girl, we've made more tips tonight than the whole month before. Don't get used to it. Tomorrow we're back to normal. Nothing about you is normal anymore, Tamara Henderson. Earl watched from behind the grill, flipping burgers, hiding his smile. Mrs. Patterson sat at her usual booth eating pecan pie. Her building was safe. Prescott's development deals had collapsed with his arrest. A customer stopped Tamara on her way to table 6. Excuse me, are you the $20 hero? Tamara smiled. I'm just a waitress, ma'am. No, you're not. The woman pressed a $100 bill into her hand. This is for you. And this, she pulled out a handwritten note, is for my daughter to read. She's 10. I want her to grow up knowing that kindness matters. Tamara's eyes welled. Thank you. Thank you. 3 weeks later, Whitmore Estate. Tamara walked through the garden with Jonathan. The old man was weaker now. More time in the wheelchair. More clouded days. But today was clear. I don't have much time left, Jonathan said. Months, maybe weeks. The doctors won't say, but I know. Don't talk like that. It's the truth, and truth matters. He stopped his wheelchair beside a rose bush. Tamara, I've rewritten my will. Victoria is removed. Garrett will manage the company. And the Angela Henderson Foundation will receive significant funding, enough to help thousands of families afford medical care. Tamara knelt beside him. Mr. Whitmore. Jonathan. Jonathan. She took his hand. You've already given me so much. No. You gave first. You gave when you had nothing. That's a gift I can never repay. He squeezed her fingers. Promise me something. Anything. When you become a nurse, and you will become a nurse, remember to see your patients. Not just their symptoms. Not just their charts. See them. The way you saw me that night. Tamara nodded, tears streaming. I promise. Jonathan smiled. The sun caught his face. For a moment he looked young again. Good. That's all I needed to hear. Garrett walked Tamara to the gate. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, he said. No, you don't. She paused. But you earned my respect. You stood up when it mattered. I was almost too late. Almost doesn't count. You showed up. She offered her hand. Friends? He shook it. Friends. She walked toward the car, waiting to take her home, then turned back. Garrett, take care of him. Whatever time he has left. I will. She nodded and disappeared into the afternoon light. 1 year later, Tamara Henderson adjusted her nursing cap and took a deep breath. The graduation stage at Millbrook Community College was small. The auditorium was packed. In the front row, Rosa, wiping tears, Earl, pretending not to cry, Mrs. Patterson, beaming, Pastor Willis, hands raised in prayer, and Terrell, her baby brother, all grown up, cheering louder than anyone. Tamara Henderson, nursing program, summa cum laude. She crossed the stage, accepted her diploma. The applause washed over her like warm rain. Afterward, she found a card tucked into her flowers. Your mother would be so proud, as am I. J.W. Jonathan Whitmore had passed away 3 months earlier. Peacefully, surrounded by family. But he'd kept his promise. The Angela Henderson Foundation had already helped over 2,000 families afford medication and care. His legacy. Her mother's name. Together, forever. That night, Millbrook Community Hospital. First shift. First patient. Tamara walked into room 112. An elderly black woman lay alone. No visitors, no flowers, eyes filled with lonely resignation. Tamara pulled up a chair, sat down, took her hand. Hi, I'm Tamara. I'll be your nurse tonight. The woman's eyes widened. You're the one from the news, the $20 girl. Tamara smiled softly. I'm just a nurse, ma'am, and I see you. The woman burst into tears. It's been so long since anyone saw me. I see you now, and I'm not going anywhere. Tamara Henderson never became rich. She never married a billionaire's grandson. She became something better. She became someone who sees the forgotten, the invisible, the lost. Because kindness isn't charity. It's recognizing someone's humanity when the world looks away. And sometimes, that's worth more than $11 billion. If this story touched your heart, think about who you might be walking past today. And if you want more stories about ordinary people doing extraordinary things, subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss another one.